Well, in 2005, my next guest won a Grammy Award for Best Music Album for Children with his recording called Songs from the Neighborhood, the music of Mr. Rogers. His 2019 follow-up recording, Thank You, Mr. Rogers, Music and Memories, included music stars like the Cowsills, John Cicada and Kelly Pickler. They sing the timeless songs of Mr. Rogers. To tell us more, would you please welcome that guy, Dennis Scott. Dennis, welcome. Great to have you here. I wondered if you were going to come out like in a cardigan sweater and, put on some sneakers and all that stuff, just like Mr. Rogers always did.
No, they weren't on sale, so
okay.
I couldn't get them.
Mr. Rogers has been appreciated by so many people, but I think the film that came out this past year with Tom Hanks reminded people what a remarkable humanitarian and human being Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers, really was. He
really was. He walked the walk and he talked the talk, and I've learned so much about him just from his music alone, from his lyrics, and it's really an honor to be able to bring these songs to life again in new arrangements with all these award-winning stars.
He really was a musician, a classically trained pianist, and he could sing and he could play, and he did compose the music, the things that we remember him for.
Oh, absolutely. I think a lot of people don't know that about him, and before I did this album, I've gotten to know his wife, Joanne Rogers, and we were talking about the movie, and she said, I just wish that there had been more focus on his music. And that was really what inspired me to go ahead and do this.
Did she like the film?
She did, yeah.
Good.
And she's in it. She has a little cameo appearance, too.
I think it endeared us once again to his compassion for other people, his unselfish attitudes. It struck me as, wow, I thought I knew this guy, but it really revealed a side of him through the eyes of this person doing a story on him that was very powerful. What drew you to studying Mr. Rogers and his music?
Well, it came about unexpectedly. I was actually in my kitchen and a rerun of Mr. Rogers' show came on the air and he was singing this beautiful little song. I said, gee, I wonder who wrote that song. Turns out it was him.
Yeah.
And I had wondered, has anybody else ever recorded his songs? And nobody had. And I said, this is just treasure. And I just felt compelled to do it, and I'm glad that we did.
Did you have any idea whatsoever that it would be such a hit, winning a Grammy, and then the follow-up would have all of these amazing, internationally renowned artists who were joining you?
Including one of your guests, the Cowsills.
That's right,
tonight.
the Cowsills, who are incredible.
Well, it's just an honor to be able to work with these people. I mean, we were talking, people that we grew up, we were listening to their hits, bopping down the streets, listening to the Cowsills and the Monkees and people like that. And to have them put their stamps on Mr. Rogers songs, it makes me think that a good song is a song that anybody can record. And so I'm on a campaign to get Mr. Rogers inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. And I hope you'll all join me.
I think that is a great idea. Obviously, this audience thinks that's a great idea. The artists that you enlisted to be a part of the project, I mean, these are the top names in the business, and I have to wonder, how many of them did it because they themselves had been influenced by Mr. Rogers as children?
I think just about everybody has a story about Mr. Rogers, and it's amazing because he was so engaged with the people who watched the show. If you wrote a letter to Mr. Rogers, he wrote one back to you. I mean, who takes the time to do something like that?
Nobody.
And Susan Cowsill will tell you her own story because she was very much a fan of Mr. Rogers.
You do a lot of musical projects, one of which is you have a Beatles tribute band called the Wanna Beatles. You're terrific. The band is absolutely fantastic. I'm a big Beatles fan, so I love you guys, and I've watched you before. What all got you into music in the early part of your life?
Well, I would say it was the Beatles.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people.
Like Keith and me and everybody else, it was the Beatles that I think did it for most of us.
They came on the Ed Sullivan Show, and we were mesmerized, and we all ran out and bought guitars and basses and keyboards, and it's been a great ride ever since. I mean, there's nothing like a Beatles song to make you feel, if you're feeling blue and unhappy, you're listening to one of the songs that life is good.
Dennis, thanks for being here. Thanks for reminding us of the just gentle, kind nature of Mr. Rogers and his magnificent music. And you even brought a fan. Thank you for being a fan. Well, you can find Thank You, Mr. Rogers, Music and Memories everywhere music is sold. And you can also get at thankyouMrRogers.com.